I'm mad at George Clooney right now, even though we dated. I wish.
I respectfully disagree. Joe Biden's feelings don't matter more than our country.
George Clooney has joined a growing list of Democratic Party supporters and donors who are saying that Joe Biden needs to step down and the Democrats need to replace him with somebody else. Joy Behar and Sonny Hostin on The View were not happy with George Clooney about this. Some of their co-hosts disagreed with them. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
President Biden is fighting right now for his political future. Yeah. Democratic National Committee Chair Jamie Harrison. I know, Harrison, of course, is still in Biden's corner, but he's losing more high-profile support. George Clooney wrote an op-ed piece in the New York Times claiming that after he saw Biden's condition at the recent fundraiser, he doesn't think he's up for the gig. George Clooney. Couldn't he tell him that in person, for God's sakes? He has to write an op-ed piece. And Obama's former speechwriter, Jon Favreau, claims he's not the only one. Watch.
Every single person I talked to at the fundraiser thought the same thing, except for the people working for Joe Biden, or at least they didn't say that. But I remember my wife, Emily, turned to me after the fundraiser and said, what are we going to do? And I said, well, there's a debate in a week. Either he'll do well in the debate and we'll think, well, he was just tired because he flew all the way back from Europe and that'll be that. Or he'll be like this at the debate and then the whole country will be talking about it.
Wake up, America. Wake up, Democrats. It's time to stiffen your spines and knock your knees and be for your president. Because of a 90-minute debate, we throw all of that away? Come on, folks. Focus on what is important.
People I don't think they understand what's at stake yet. I really don't. When you see that these two people, Trump, the convicted felon, is neck and neck with a man who actually saved the economy. The World Bank said last month that the U.S. economy under Biden is boosting up the entire global economy right now. Why doesn't George Clooney mention that in his op-ed piece? I'm mad at George Clooney right now, even though we dated. I wish.
So Joy Behar says there's two things here that I think are crazy that she says. One, she talks about how people aren't understanding how important this election is and that she believes that Trump is this threat and all this kind of stuff. Okay, well, if you believe that, Joy Behar, you would think that you would want to put the best person in place in order to win that election. But right now, it does not look like Joe Biden is that person. All signs are pointing to Joe Biden losing massively. Donald Trump is going to run away with this election. So if you're somebody like Joy Behar and you think that this election is so important, you would want to put somebody in there who could win. That person is not Joe Biden. And she says she's mad at George Clooney and he should have just spoken to him privately. Joe Biden isn't listening to anything other than he should stay in the race and he is going to win. George Clooney is a big donor and was at a fundraiser with Joe Biden recently. And he apparently thinks this is the only way to get through to people within the Democratic Party to actually do something to get Joe Biden out of there.
Respectfully disagree. Joe Biden's feelings don't matter more than our country. And this is not the media. This is not a narrative. These are Democrats, lifelong, who want to defeat Donald Trump and who know how to win races, saying that Joe Biden cannot win as things are going. It's top Obama advisors, top Clinton advisors, the biggest, most prolific Democratic fundraiser, George Clooney. These are people who want to see Donald Trump defeated. They are not doing this for fun or for sport. They wanted to see Joe Biden do better. And they wanted, but then why are you mad at him? But I would say this. I'm the closest.
Exactly. Why is Joy Behar mad at George Clooney for he's just trying to win the election? Alyssa here is completely right with what she's saying.
Thing to a swing voter at this table. You're an independent. You're obviously riding hard with Biden. The people who are going to decide this election need to hear the case be made of how he could possibly overcome the hurdle that he has. Also, if he's fit to serve 4 more years, but there's no historic example of someone being behind the margin of error in every single battleground state, save one, and coming back in 3.5 months and winning. We are staring down the barrel of Donald Trump being president-elect in 3.5 months, and this is the time for Democrats to set their feelings aside and make a change.
And this wasn't about one bad night, by the way. The rumors of this had been going around for a lot of time. I know you had mentioned it here at this table multiple times, but the problem is after that debate, they couldn't hide it anymore. Now you can't unsee what everyone saw. I actually am one of those people like George Clooney speaking up, and it's because I see the threat of a Donald Trump that I'm saying it's not about just fitness, it's fitness to win. You have to be able to beat him in an election. And right now, these conversations need to happen now, and I think the good part is there is some plus on the other side. Just like these fundraisers said, people are going to see it in the debate, and then we're going to have to talk about it. We're talking about it. If they put someone else on that ticket, there are a couple good things that can happen. One, Alyssa, you've said 1,000 times, it's between Biden and the couch. It was about unenthusiastic voters. We have the historical highs of double haters. Those are people that hate both candidates. That's been for the last year. You get those unenthusiastic voters. You also get someone up there that now we can contrast just who Donald Trump is. We can focus on his age, his mental problems, his convictions, because there's no contrast of, but Joe Biden's this, you know? And also, if you take James Clyburn, Representative Clyburn's advice, and also George Clooney in this, have some robust mini primaries where you put Vice President Harris and some of the viable Democratic candidates. It will dominate the news cycle all the way up to the election. There are a lot of good things that happen if they happen soon and if they happen like pretty much now. Let democracy work.
I will be damned if I will use whatever little platform I have to demean and weaken our commander-in-chief and the one man standing between Donald Trump and the White House.
So the ladies on this Anna Navarro and Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Hostin on The View, they are Democratic Party establishment through and through. So they are going to support Joe, and they're probably friends with Joe Biden, Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg and the rest of these people. They're going to support Joe Biden no matter what. But if they cannot see that Joe Biden is going to lose, I just don't understand their points here. They make no sense. Joe Biden is too old. Everybody knew this a year ago, and it's coming out more and more that people within the administration and people within the media knew 2 years ago that Biden was declining dramatically, and they didn't say anything. And now they're stuck with Joe Biden, who can't win.
Talking about this and having an existentialist crisis for 14 damn days. 14 damn days.
Enough already.
Tell you what I want to talk about. Today, consumer prices went down. Today, inflation went down. Gas prices are down. Unemployment is down. The job numbers are great. And nobody is talking about that because we're all focused on this. And I do think the media has played a role in this. And I'll give you an example. Earlier this week, the media, the White House correspondents were breathlessly reporting about this Parkinson's specialist that Joe Biden saw him visit at the White House 8 times. Well, the man has been part of the White House medical unit since 2012. When Obama was president, the man visited the White House over 20 times. Did Barack Obama have Parkinson's?
Those are perfectly legitimate questions that if they were asked in the Trump administration, you guys would be praising because we deserve the answers, even if it's not the answer that the media...
Actually, in the Trump administration, we didn't know how many times this guy went because you didn't reveal the visitor logs.
We need to have a consistency on transparency, no matter who the commander-in-chief is, and we should have a consistency of respecting the free press for doing their job, regardless of who the commander-in-chief is.
Alyssa's completely right about this. We should have transparency on all of this, and Anna Navarro and Joy Behar don't want to face the facts. Biden is an old man in bad shape, and he's going to be under more of a microscope in terms of what his health issues and doctor visits and all that kind of thing than a younger president would. It's just the reality of the situation.
There was no consistency in the Trump administration because they weren't releasing the logs. So
we're being gaslit by the Biden administration every day.
Is very, very, very different. But I will say this. I don't like that George Clooney did this. I don't like that George Clooney aired this dirty laundry to the world. I think that these conversations are happening. I think they should be happening because our democracy is at stake. But they should be happening privately with the command.
So Sunny Hostin is saying these should be private conversations. These private conversations have apparently happened for a long time, and Joe Biden is not willing to face the facts and drop out. And George Clooney is a guy who apparently gives a lot of money to this campaign and to the Democratic Party. And there's a lot of talk that he is speaking for Barack Obama, that Barack Obama he can see the writing on the wall that Biden is going to lose and wants him out of there. And he's using people like George Clooney as surrogates. This is something that Sunny Hostin should know. She's somebody within the media. But again, she and Joy Behar are part of the establishment that are in the bag for Joe Biden.
Commander-in-chief, who we should have the utmost respect for.
And that goes for all of them.
This is a man.
Goes for all of them.
Right. This is a man who saved the soul of our country, and this is the man who has a record that he can stand on. I will also say this. What the media is not talking about is the Republican platform. Let's reframe this discussion. Why are we just talking about Trump versus Biden? Let's talk about Project 2025, the Republican platform, and then let's talk about the Democratic platform. That is what this needs to be framed as.
What do you guys watch? I don't know what news you guys watch. I see Project 2025 talked about constantly.
We're not talking about it.
We talk about it here. I've traveled the country talking about it.
So the problem that Sunny Hostin doesn't seem to see here is a party cannot talk about these different policies and what they're going to fight against when they have a candidate in Joe Biden that people don't think can continue the job and also be reelected and go another 4 years. No matter what the person has done in office, whether it's good or bad, but if they have done good things, if they're no longer physically and mentally capable of doing the job, they can't be in there anymore. Ronald Reagan had dementia and was pretty much out of it the last 3 years of his second term, and Nancy Reagan was pretty much the president running the country, but that was all hidden from us. The people need to know that they have a president in place who can handle things, and that's not Joe Biden anymore. So people like George Clooney, I guess, are going to continue to make these pundits and people on television like Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg continually mad for pointing out the reality of the situation and the truth that Joe Biden has to be removed and somebody else more capable placed in there. But what do you think? Do you agree with Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin on The View in their assessment that George Clooney should have kept this private and should not be saying this publicly? Or do you agree with George Clooney and others that are calling for Joe Biden to step down and somebody else to be put in that position to run the country and potentially win an election? Let me know what you think. Give me a like and a comment. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. That helps me to grow, and I'll see you in the next video.